Good afternoon. Welcome to the Everton Daily Live. It's Tuesday, the 8th of July. And, joined by John in the studio. Are you good?
Yeah.
That's good.
Fab. Need a holiday.
Yeah. You've been back a week, ready to go again.
I think I'll go at the end of the month.
Yeah. Go and have another one. Tiano Barry.
Yeah.
Everton's primary target so far this summer is, according to Fabrizio Romano, on Merseyside for a medical. It was reported this morning by Patrick Boylan in The Athletic that he was flying in for his medical. Well, Romano has said he's already here. He's on Merseyside, trying to get it confirmed at the moment. But it looks like, even though the story says the clubs are still talking, it isn't finalised. It must be very close if the player's here to have his medical.
Yeah. And I think Paddy said in his article, we don't want to pay the release clause.
Well, yeah, I mean, the reported fees, 27.5 million plus add-ons. The add-ons add up to 33 million. 33 million is his release clause. So if the soft targets, then it'll get to what Villarreal
Sort
value.
of oh, yeah.
Anyway.
I think that's the trick here, isn't it? That if there's others interested in him, then why would Villarreal agree anything that's less than the release clause? So then, as soon as you've agreed a number, we've had these chats, haven't we? You try and keep the money in your bank as long as you can. And if that's just a brief kick down the road, every penny helps, doesn't it? You know, and presumably any upfront numbers are related to the primary deal value. So that reduces that as well. So good.
Money. Sorry. The noise coming out of France are that, because I was thinking this, like, wow, how come a few other clubs aren't in for him?
Yeah.
But apparently he'd agreed to join Everton a few weeks ago, and therefore
good. Job done.
Just Villarreal know that there's no point really trying to hawk him around a little bit because he wants to go to Everton. Now, of course, if a Real Madrid or someone, an Arsenal came in for him, he might change his mind. But so yeah, Daniel Barton, the release clause is 40 million euros.
Yeah, I've just checked that.
33 million pound.
Well, right now this second it's 34.5, but yeah. So that must be
that's the release clause.
A weakening of the pound.
Yeah, 40 million euro.
You can't think why the pound's getting weaker, can you? Yeah.
So yeah, good. Get it done, and that's a big tick.
Well, it is, because one out, one in, then, isn't it? But still work to be done on balancing the outs with some more ins. Yeah,
but if you've got a primary target and
you get him
early-ish, then that's a big. Well, it's very early, isn't it? The lad's been away. The lad's been away on holiday
after the Euros, yeah.
So, you know, who knows? Everton and Villarreal might have said, well, yeah, there's no rush. The lad's on holiday. We've agreed loosely a deal.
When he comes back from his holes, just finish it off.
Off we go.
With the medical.
So
because the implication would be it's all done and dusted, subject to medical, and he's here to have that job done.
You'd only get given permission to go and have your medical if it's literally one piece of paper's left to sign.
That's right.
The agreement's done. And fair play to Nick Hammond. He's been doing the negotiations if they've got that deal done.
Yeah.
And their CEO did say, or sporting directors rather, did say last week, we want as close to the release clause as we can get.
Yeah.
And as long as it's close to that, and the player tells us he wants to go, which he had, then they'll do business.
Yeah.
And therefore, that seems like what's happened. So I think it's a good sign, and he's played 133 career games. He scored 61 goals, 16 assists, 22 years of age. Played in one of Europe's top 5 leagues for the first time last season. Got
full of energy.
Goals. Good runner, good in the air.
Non-stop runner, isn't he?
Decent on the ball, but his first touch needs work, especially in the Premier League. There's going to be those moments where Evertonians groan and it bounces off him, but that's on him to tighten that up. Yeah. And if he wants to get in the French team, the French national side, he's got that control is going to have to be worked on anyway, because they're top quality.
That word control is mental control as well, isn't it? So because didn't he apologise last season for missing chances he shouldn't miss? So he's a bit raw then in essence, yeah. But You don't get the finished article for 30 million euros.
No, there's no chance. Look at Benjamin Sesko now. Arsenal have chased since last August. Leipzig have said we're not listening to anything under 90 million now.
It's mad,
for a player that they wanted. Arsenal wouldn't pay the other 5 million for last summer.
Yeah,
and it's now cost them 40 if they want him.
Yeah, because he's got another 6 months, another 6 months of reputation building.
They wouldn't pay the extra 4.5 million for Watkins in January, and it cost them the title.
Of course it did, yeah.
So that's where you are now. That's really where you are now with looking around for these players. When you speak to people about a striker, they're all, oh, we want to prove him. Okay, who? Like, who's out there? Who Everton can get? Who's got great first touch, proven, and will prove that you get. And people always use the same thing, don't they? 20 goal a season striker. Where are they?
Yeah.
Because there ain't many around.
Oh, that's right.
You know.
How many players got 20 league goals last season in the Premier League? Don't know.
1, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or was it 2? But I know 9, I think, got 15.
Yeah.
I think
I know there's the 15 is the new 20, isn't it?
Yeah, well, of course.
It literally is.
But that's because nowadays, a lot of people play with sort of 3 forwards. So the goals are spread around. The 20 goals was when it was 2 up front.
Yeah, that's true.
One would get 20 and the other, you were open for 10, 12, but it'd take all the knocks and stuff. And that's how they work in a partnership. And then once you started playing 3, like forward players, the goals were sort of spread around a little bit more. So yeah, that's where Everton are looking at potential and having to build on it. That's where we are right now. But there's a dearth of strikers. I mean, I love Pep Guardiola, but I also blame him for the fact that people have moved away from strikers and tried to develop
leaders of the line type
players.
strikers, you mean?
Yeah, and just centre forwards that are there to do the job, to score goals. That's what they're there for. And people forget it. People put other things, oh no, you've got to be able to do that. No, you've got to put the ball in the net. That's the most important thing. The other bits are incidental, really. If you've built your team correctly, then you're okay, because your number 9's not amazing at holding the ball up. Okay, but we have other players who can do it. He'll put the ball in the net, though. That's real football. If you get it all, brilliant. But then ones who can do it all are 80, 90, 100 million pound strikers.
Yeah, you say that, and City regularly are the top scorers in the division, aren't they?
Yeah, but they've also got a lad who puts the ball in the net 30 odd times.
That's what I mean, now. But even when they didn't have him, but it's curious that...
I know, but they had, go and look at who they had, though. They had 4 strikers all the time. They had Aguero, got 30 goals every season. So they've always had
the
it.
Style of play is not really his fault, is it? If he's had those goal scorers, Pep, I mean. It's just those clubs trying to mimic his approach
that's it.
with lesser players end up forsaking a leader of the line. And
no, but I'm saying this because he's always done this, though.
Yeah.
He's not gone to City and gone, not having strikers anymore.
No,
of course, because he wants them.
Yeah,
but his natural style of play, when you look at it, lessened the role of the number 9. It's not just Pep. I'm using him as a caricature of what's gone on. But Spain were the ones playing with false 9s and not strikers and all that. And it's gone up. The real, you're up there, you do your business, you get the ball, you put it in the net, you're older, you lay it off, you get back in the middle. There is a dearth of them. Look around. Look around.
It becomes a generational thing, doesn't it?
That's it.
You know, the players who right now are early to mid-20s have been brought up in a world through their academies and stuff where being a leader of the line wasn't flavour of the month.
Can you play there? Can you go wide? Can you drop in? Can you go the other side?
Yeah, and maybe the ones who are that age, are closer to a leader of the line is because they're 6'5" and 6'6".
That's it, yeah.
And therefore, it was almost impossible to play that, falsy thing,
Well, that's what
we end up with giants, don't we?
Well, this is where we are.
Yeah,
with Tiano Barry, who has played in his career 73 times as centre forward. That's by far the most he's played.
Sure.
He's had 9 appearances as a left winger and scored 7 goals, and he's had 5 appearances as a right winger and scored 6 goals.
So he scores from the wings and he scores down the middle.
And he puts it in the middle. And
Excellent.
He's played left midfield in 5 occasions and scored 1 goal, and right midfield once with no goals. So quite clearly does his damage in the final third, but predominantly right through the middle as a centre.
But that's really unusual isn't it? For a guy who we may be describing as our leader of the line, number 9. You know, we get the 9 shirt, I'm guessing.
Possibly.
Yeah. Who can play across any of the front 3, which is what you've been banging on about.
I still look at him and think I couldn't really see him playing right wing for Everton.
No, I get
the
it.
Premier League.
Because you've got other players, we hope, don't we?
Better add that.
Yeah.
I've had one.
Who are going to be the primary pick there. But your almost ethos of how you want our squad to be built is you've got 3 players to be your front 3, whatever that means, and they can play anywhere across the line, move and interchange and all that sort of stuff. And, you know, that naturally enough brings into the fact that at some stages they're going to actually drop back into midfield, aren't they? So,
well, just something that you should probably find interesting, and John.
Go on.
Alan Myers has tweeted out saying so it's like a company thing, saying Everton have sold Goodison Park.
Has it?
the stuff we've seen on Company's House and the like this morning doesn't say they've sold it. It says they've released charges from it, which one might anticipate is they're going to sell it.
I've seen people in the comments saying he's just tweeted out a minute ago.
But Alan has said it has been sold.
Well, maybe it's been sold now.
Yeah, so no one's told us.
Ted will have a little look as well.
Yeah, no
he'll
one's
have a
told
look.
us, yeah.
Of course, he'll have a look. Is it just that? No, it's
What?
just a thing that you've seen.
That we've seen already. Okay.
So it seems like they're preparing, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
To sell Goodison
Yeah.
rather than they've actually sold it.
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
I mean, for those who aren't sad enough to read everything that comes out of Company's House, yeah, there's a couple of charges on Goodison. I think JP Morgan and Metro Bank, for example, and those charges have been released, which would typically, perhaps, would have been an
Point
impediment to selling it. Me and Baz have talked about it. Maybe we'll talk about it later in the week when more stuff will be known.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
fundamentally, we talked about it on BWB last week, and it looks like the corporate structure that TFG are putting in place is aligned with having the women's team, if you want to call it that, not being owned by the men's team, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
And fundamentally, the structure will end up with a PLC, if you will. Sorry, just a company, not a PLC, company for what we would know as the men's team and a company for what we know as the women's team, with both of them having their own stadium. Yeah. Because at the moment, the hierarchy is everything goes through the main Everton company. And yet, EFCW, which is a holding company, maybe the clue's in the name,
Yeah.
is owned by Capital, Roundhouse Capital Holdings. So that's the same company that owns the main Everton company as well. So yeah, it looks like boys and girls that they're lining up to change the corporate structure. And the smiley bit I did when me and Baz did this with a whiteboard before was, and one would assume there'd be some form of consideration for that to happen as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
so maybe it is lining up to selling the women's team to yourself and selling Goodison Park to yourself as well.
Creating more headroom.
Yeah,
stuff,
absolutely.
of course.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Of course. Ped, just put your mic on a sec.
Well, while he's putting his mic on, I've just had a quick look at Alan's
Okay,
thing.
yeah.
It is the same Company's House charge release. And he, I'm guessing, has got to the same conclusion as we have, but he's described it has been rather than it will be.
Interesting.
Oh, be fair to him. He says, it appears Everton has sold Goodison Park. So he's not saying it has, but it appears. I think it appears they've set him up to do just that. Absolutely.
Ped, good news on Tiano Barry. Obviously, we were talking about it yesterday, and maybe to get one in the door. I know Everton need it anyway, and they need more, but good news that he's coming in for his medical, as things seem to be coming to a conclusion with that one.
Yeah. Obviously, added the Jishagana Gay to it, and it's a couple of good days' work for the manager. And then it'll just be moving on to the next one, won't it?
Yeah.
As fast as possible. John McGinn already mentioned today, interesting one. But maybe does that just tell us more about what position David Moyes maybe wants next? We'll wait and see. But yeah,
McAtee mentioned today as well.
yeah. But that sort of gives you an insight of where the next one maybe is they're looking for, which is still mad because right winger is still the most important position because there isn't one. Allay some fears, I suppose. Allay some fears that people have had that we've been a bit slow. But we've got all of the out of contract players sorted now. got the main striking target in the door, and now it's probably about getting the next two on. I think that midfielder, that right winger, and then everything else I think will be stopgaps, loans, 1 year deals, 2 year deals after those two players, I think, which is a centre midfielder and a right winger. And I said everything else is dressing up the squad, and then maybe we can start looking at what that means for Chimiti and maybe Harrison Armstrong once we come back from America. But yeah, I think this is like the first of three, I would say, personally.
The big ones.
Yeah.
Everton linked as well today with Mark Travers from Bournemouth, the goalkeeper.
Interesting.
Because obviously Everton they need
Cover.
one, maybe two goalies.
We
Two
do.
have gone out. Obviously,
Yeah, absolutely.
Virginia's gone out and Begovic went out.
Yeah.
Now Harry Tyrer has had a couple of loans, so he may well be number 3. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the plan for him is. So it'll be interesting to see what he does there. They've obviously took young Lucas Ducan. How do you say his name? Yimang. So he's a highly rated goalie. He's gone up to Scotland with them, and George Pickford, the other keeper's gone up as well. There for MOYES to have a look at, and obviously to make the numbers up, because there's not many. Because there's no numbers, is there, up there? So the links are there today. I mean, John McGinn, Pet just mentioned him there. Very good for Villa. Got that little bit of bite. He's Villa's captain though. I just don't.
They have challenges though, don't they?
They do, but I don't know about that one.
I mean, their wage bill's quite big and squad ratio.
But I thought June
all that
30th was their challenge, and they got.
Well, it might be for PSR,
but then they're in UEFA.
they're in
of course,
UEFA competitions. But the interesting thing is around some of these players that we're talking about is that they're at the higher end potentially of what it might cost us to get them. At the same time as we're talking about the corporate restructuring that goes on, that could be some games playing around, selling stuff to yourself. Remember when Villa did that the other week? That was predominantly to comply with PSR and stuff, I guess. But it's also, I guess, some potential fear amongst Premier League clubs, maybe, perhaps, that this so-called loophole will get closed, albeit it would require everyone to vote on it. What will be interesting when Everton do what we think they're going to do, which is, set up the women's team and Goodison Park as entities detached from the main company, we'll call it, is if we find minority shareholders or one or both of those assets, which is sort of what Villa did with the women's team. Okay. Right? A third party has paid 10%.
Has bought a share in.
Share in the women's team. And because we're all expecting growth in the women's teams, and of course Everton, the Friedkin group, have previously said they're looking for investment in the women's team, which might have just been a cute way of saying, guess what, when we do this financial and engineering, there is going to be a third party involved. And that again will draw attention and interest, and also further enhance this positive perception thing we're getting, as these guys know what they're doing and we're doing it. And so the annualized worry about transfer windows and PSRs and stuff is still in our blood. Kev's been on to me again, type of thing, But over time, the only way you can change those perceptions is by consistently doing what appears to be the right thing at the right time. And it looks like that's what we're doing, doesn't it? It really does.
It seems to be that way, yeah.
And the names of these players, which I don't know where the sources are of them, but it doesn't matter. You're saying, but he's their captain. Or McAtee. Everyone should want McAtee. I don't know. I said, shit, he was a divvy, wasn't he? Right. But McAtee, right, you'd imagine he'd be in demand everywhere.
Well,
and where
Germany seems to be the place where he's in demand.
Yeah, because they can see assets, and they can sell that story about those who've gone to the Bundesliga, played for a Dortmund or whomever, and suddenly reappear again. Think of someone like Kevin De Bruyne going to Wolfsburg, and all that sort of stuff. But these are the right levels and ages, and some of them in the right positions as well. And we're in that mix. And maybe going back to the chat we had before about, we've had a period of austerity, so we're down to the bones, but that gives us great opportunity, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Lots of those clubs in this country who may be interested in some of these players can't afford them. because of PSR. They're up against the wall on it, and so on.
Yeah.
And maybe the ones who are not the places where these players want to go. So let's exploit the advantages that we've got headroom, a magnificent new stadium, a new manager, new ownership, new optimism. Exploit all those things to get these deals over the line.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see who we see when we're in the States, won't it? How many are done in time for that? Because again, Moyes being a demanding old soul, he'll want pretty much at least his core picks to be there, won't he? And Barry's going to be there by the looks of it, because if that deal goes over the line, it'll be quite soon, won't it?
Yeah.
Excellent. Land of Giants, all wearing blue shirts. Yeah.
Royal Blue Rich says, how much can you improve a first touch? It's minimal, I'd say. You can control it or you can't. No, I totally disagree,
Practice
mate.
makes perfect, mate.
Work on it. You work on it all the time. It's how you have a good first touch in the first place. It's that you work on it and work on it and work on it. That's what you have to do. Go look at Berbatov, the stuff he does. And you'd listen to him saying how much work he did on it, even as a young pro, smashing it against the wall and being able to control it.
That one-to-one thing he did with Gary Neville was tremendous.
He was wrong. I mean, he was exceptional.
He was.
His first touch, but you can definitely improve, get it tight. 100%. I'm a big, massive believer.
Didn't we watch Beto get better as the season went on?
Yeah, but still, it should be better.
No, I get it. But the point is, there's the evidence that even in season you can improve.
Yeah, of course, because it is about that. It's concentration, it's depth of touch, it's working. Always, every day in the garden, it's every day, half an hour, pair of us, whacking it up, kill it, whacking it up, kill it.
I also think, again, we've talked about this before, about Beto really, which is, he came from a style of play and a league where he wasn't being asked to do the things that he has to do in this league. So these players may have the touch, they've just never had to use it. So now they have to practice it.
Well, it's about, but you still, when a ball's played into you.
There's about body shapes, all sorts of things you can be coached in.
It's cushioned.
Yeah, that's what I
Cushion
mean,
the ball, get it under control and lay it off. And someone like Tiano Barry mightn't ever look silky. He ain't going to take the ball like Harry Kane or someone, but as long as he keeps it and can protect it a little bit and get it out of what he needs to do with it, then that's all that matters.
And it was those basics that Beto improved dramatically on.
He's got better, yeah. He's got, let's see how good he is. That's what it's about, isn't it? He never stop improving, ever. It's how much work rate you want to put on it. How much does he want to improve? Well, we know Beto does.
Signal takes longer to get to your foot.
When you get older, the signal's there, John. It's your feet. It just doesn't get there quickly. But that's what it's about.
It gets to your feet and your foot goes, you what?
it's what working. Blue 96 is Baz, would you be happy with these? Kubo, Luis Travers and Tagliafico. Yes. Talking about Felipe Luis from Benfica, midfield player. Yeah, he's a good player. Kubo, yeah, I'd still want another one with Kubo. Still think we need. Kubo's really good dribbler, lovely left foot, can go by players, but we haven't got any. Still haven't got pace.
Doesn't score goals.
He's not slow. Last season he was great, but he'd normally create and score more. But let's see.
Still young-ish.
He's 24.
Yeah, not long 24, is he?
No, so
pre-prime.
Yeah, again, hard worker, way in with goals. Again, put the work in. Put the work in. That's what it's about. Doesn't ever stop. Doesn't ever stop. What do we think about Mark Travers? He's all right. He's all right as a backup. He's not. Who are you going to get, right? Who's going to come in and be really good as a number 2 at Everton, where they're not in Europe. You don't play loads of games, and England's goalies in your way.
And he very rarely have ever.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, that's where you have to look at. You have to weigh that up and go, well, who can we? You either get a young and up-and-coming goalkeeper, but Everton have got 2 who they really highly rate. The problem is they're only 17 and 18. One, Man City were trying to pay 10 million for last season, and we kept them. It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one because it's not, like I said, if we were in Europe, So we had a lot of games. You'd say to the keeper coming through, well, you're going to get at least 8 to 10 games that you're going to be able to get in and prove yourself, knock on the door. It's Pickford.
Instead of 1 or 2.
Well, exactly, you end up with Everton play 3 or 4 cup games a season at the moment.
That's right.
So it's like, you might get 2 games, 2 Carabao Cup or whatever. So it's a real tough job to sell a backup goalkeeper to Everton, isn't it? Compared to Virginia saying, I loved it, but I was never getting in because Jordan Pickford.
It needs to be someone at beginning or end of career, doesn't it, ultimately? So you might find we get a 37-year-old.
But Travers is only 26.
Yeah.
So it's a good Everton, like Michael Cooper, who's the Sheffield United keeper, but he's their goal. He's played like 40-odd games last season. I think he got 21 clean sheets. Has he gone? He's 25. Is he really? If I was him, I wouldn't give it up to come and sit on the bench at Everton and never play. Just wouldn't, regardless of it being Premier League or it's a big club or whatever. So it's a tricky one. It's like the centre back thing with Michael Keane, isn't it? You're trying to sell a position to someone of, you're a good centre back. Do you want to come and sit on our bench? You might play
never get a game.
4 or 5 games. You're going to be fourth choice. Why are you going to go there? So you have to weigh it all up, don't you? And it is a tricky one for Everton. Maybe next summer you look at it and go, our goalie's 34. So now we're looking for someone to push him out in the next year or so.
Yeah.
But that again, that's a difficult one. So Travers,
try and do those deals. All right. Or prepare those deals now.
That's hard, isn't it? Because you've got to assess it all the time. And see where you go. Mike Raff says, great news. We want more. Liam D says, the links to McGinn and McAtee have my juices flowing. Okay. McGinn next to Garner and McAtee and Jai either side of Alcaraz and Barry. We're cooking. Let's see. Adam says, McAtee linked again. He's an exciting prospect for sure, but certainly wouldn't solve the lack of pace that we have. It'd have to be McAtee and another one. Leon Bailey's one I like, and with Villa needing to sell, you may be able to get him at a decent price. He's 28 in August, though, which is the only problem. Yeah. Monsieur Barry says MW76. Mark Max says John McGinn link was random. Wasn't expecting that, but he is 30. Great player, not blessed with pace. McAtee's the one I want. Everton Vikings is very excited by the Barry signing. Also think Mark Travers would be a good buy or loan as a backup. Steady. Grandpa Flump says brilliant news. Let the new backroom boys work their magic and trust in Moyes. Yes, John's seen the paperwork about the women's team stuff.
Yep.
Barry says McGinn would be a great signing despite his age, but I can't see Villa selling him. No, I can't either, to be honest. Everton Viking says, I feel like despite him needing work, he isn't as raw as it's being made out. His touch isn't a balloon. I've seen him consolable really well plenty of times. He definitely needs work and patience, but I don't think it's as bad as some are making it. Scored at every level he's been to. Brilliant in the air, fast and strong. Defo needs work, but I defo expect him to come in and make an impact and score goals. I think his technical ability, I'm going to say, but players, is a lot better than Beto's. It is. I've seen him pick the ball up and go past 3 or 4 men like they're not there. So,
we get stuff right, and it's like some people would say it's in the know stuff, and we don't tell, do we? Because we try and keep up out of it. This one's quite amusing. It's not an in the know thing, but it's still quite amusing. I'll just read it out verbatim, and I won't tell you who sent me it. My mate's son is a hairdresser. And Barry and 2 other Everton players have just booked him for a haircut.
Right.
So, post-holiday haircut, do you think? Maybe he went to his medical and he said, that hair needs cutting, lad. Cheers, mate. Thank you for sending that. But it's probably true as well, by the way.
Well, we did have one the other day saying he was getting a picture taken outside Bramley Moor.
Well, there is that.
In Miami. Yeah. So, Michael Barnes says, Mr. Blaine looking magnificent today.
Oh, thank you.
So there you go.
Whatever that means, but yeah,
there
thank
you go.
Yeah.
David Eo says another control, John. Are there signs Everton are controlling the narrative? I'm sure we're doing deals behind the scenes.
Yeah, I think it's better when stuff happens and we find out when it's happened rather than happening.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know whether we're more effectively controlling the narrative. Maybe just the natural MO of David Moyes means less people know what he's actually thinking, and therefore it's easier to track down the ones who can't hold their tongue. Yeah, but it does seem that the positive side of a narrative is coming out, which is good, isn't it?
Steve M says Everton selling Goodison Park looks like for £1, but probably not reading the document right.
He's not reading the document right.
No. Okay, there you go. MW76 says, assume this locks Yusuf to a loan. Who knows? I'd assume so. Harry James Tattoo says, up the Goodison Park selling toffees. Chris Davies says, afternoon lads, isn't Barry a Chimity Mark II? No, very far from it. He's played 133 games in his career. Scored 61 goals. Chimity hasn't played anywhere near that amount. And if you add his minutes up, it probably equates to about 8 games. So Chimity was raw potential. Tiano Barry is potential stepping up each year and performing. So no, very different.
In a top flight league.
Robert Jones says, afternoon, gents. Cheers, John. It's always good to get your objective insight into the financial details of footy as well. Blue Keeley says, do you think Callum Wilson would be a good third option up front? I don't, personally. He's never fit. And if he was fit, Newcastle wouldn't be letting him go. When he's fit and firing, he scores goals, the lad.
Yeah.
He 100% does, and he's decent. But
when we make our list of
never
attributes
fit.
that we want and the list of the things we don't want, he tick more on this side than that.
Well,
side,
I think me and James done his minutes, and it was just over 3 games, I think.
Was
or
it?
4 games last season. Minutes-wise, he had something like 18 appearances. He got 1 goal in the FA Cup, no Premier League goals. He's never fit.
How old is he as well?
33.
That's what I mean.
And yet, some people were losing their heads saying Dom's injury prone. He's played 61 times in the Premier League in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mostly starts. You know, Callum Wilson makes Dom look like an ever-present.
Indestructible.
You know, yeah. So, Gary Cross says Big Ron was able to improve his first touch. He was. He absolutely was from when he came. He could trap a ball further than he could kick it. Ron, terrible. His first touch was.
But again, when you've had, you know, in age groups, physical advantages.
Yeah, he doesn't need to.
Then you don't need to learn some of those core skills. But then when you get playing with the big boys, you do.
And he did. He didn't half improve.
Yeah, absolutely.
He still. I mean, he even gets sort of stick for it now at Napoli.
Yeah.
The way he can. If you watch him, sometimes you can't control the ball, bounces off him and everything. And you're going, the hell, Ron. I'm 33, 32 or something. You know, that age of your career, it should be dead and ready to go.
Barry's still in that
very,
stage.
very effective, isn't he? Scores tons of goals and was very good.
I think Barry's still in that stage of when you're striking the ball at goal, you hit it as hard as you possibly can.
Yeah, he just smacks it. He does smack it.
And the keeper's in the way, it goes in the top tier.
So be it.
Yeah.
Rich Parry says, think everyone worries about Barry's first touch. Wouldn't be the first time we've judged a young player before he's here. Branthwaite was criticised early doors, as was John Stones. We need to get behind a player and watch him shine like the others. Yeah. I think people will get behind. I think you're just always looking. You look at a player and you want them to almost be perfect when you're bringing them in, and they're going to change everything, but they're not.
We're not going to get players at that stage.
No. And United, even look at a club like Man United, scratching around for players, aren't they? And, you know, when teams like Arsenal looking for a striker and can't find one, and you know,
I don't want to pay,
or it's just too much. But what do you do? There's not loads of them where you go, we can get him and everyone. Sort of the market we're going to be in for is all about potential. Reading that potential, and can we realise it? You know, if you want someone who's, I mean, I like Evan Guessand, who's in France. He's got a lovely first touch, can dribble and all that. He's going to Villarreal.
I was to say, have you seen who he's like?
Yeah, Villarreal. Well, he's
filling in behind you.
But he's 24, and he likes to drift wide. he's got a lovely first, strong, he's a lovely first touch, but I think probably Tiano Barry's potential's much higher. But this lad is a good footballer, and you'd get him in and go, he'd help us, and he would, but Wolves wanted him and others, but that's just where we are, I think. That's where we are.
There's a hell of a lot of inflation around strikers, goal scorers, isn't it? And that's because, you know, demand exceeds supply.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, look at, you know, Sporting Lisbon holding the corner, if you like, and Arsenal basically seems to be going down the route of get the player to really put pressure on and so on and so forth. But that's for a guy who a couple of years ago was playing in the Championship, and everyone could see him, and you know, so sometimes you just got to accept that you won't see at the moment you buy what you've actually got.
We'll see, won't we? Yeah, the lad will. I mean, Emma makes a brilliant point when people have talked about Beto. She said Beto had zero coaching under the last regime. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because the last manager couldn't be bothered. Couldn't be bothered with him. And there you've seen the difference Moyes made and his coaching staff in just a few months with Beto. You know, so that's it. You've got to put everything into, again, I speak to people and you talk to people who are in literally inside the game, and you're like, they say things like, you'd be amazed that what you think happens doesn't happen. In your head, you think these players will get in every day and they want to be the very best they can be, and they'll stay an hour after training to improve. They go in, do what they're asked to do, and go home. Don't have the meal and go home. And I'm not saying Everton do, but I'm just saying there's a lot of players who are like that, and you think, we can't put ourselves in that position, can we? Because we're like, I'd give anything to do that, and if I was in there every day, I'd be against the wall, and I'd make sure that I was the best I could be. The ones who do that are the ones who, look at Cristiano Ronaldo, you know, still performing at 40.
Yeah. If you can keep that raw enthusiasm for 20 years, then you end up playing in the Middle East earning 200 million a year, having scored trillions of goals, etc., etc. Or the opposite of that is the person, as soon as they get to a certain standard, don't think they have to put the hard yards in anymore. There's a lot.
The ones who become...
And the second group are much bigger than the first group, aren't
they? Ones who become these elite footballers, the ones who play at teams who win leagues, are the ones who go the extra bit. I've got that extra bit of determination, who put the work rate in, who put more effort in than others, better habits, look after themselves perfectly well, you know, do more and more and more.
Just keep doing it.
They're the ones who strive to be the very, very best, and that's why they, a lot of the time, become the very best. Other ones, you're right, I've made it. After the Premier League footballer, or on this or on that, never get to, you look and go, he didn't quite get to where he, or you look at players and go, on his day he's fantastic, but he doesn't have his day very often. How much work is he doing?
Absolutely.
What is he working on every aspect of his game?
And that's why, you know, that thing used to be up at Finch Farm, wasn't it?
Hard work beats talent.
When talent doesn't work hard.
Tony says Longstaff going to Leeds apparently, but dodged the bullet there.
We'll see, won't we? Yeah.
We will definitely see. We will definitely see.
First game, maybe.
Sam says Barry's gonna have a song within a week. Dom didn't get one in 9 years. The Blues, I totally agree. Luka Jovic, I would go and get. He's free.
But he doesn't have a song in the first week. Yeah.
Good player. He's one who's lost his way a little bit, but he's still only 27. He's a free transfer. Yeah.
You've got to get the core done, and then you can take some risks, can't you?
Yeah.
Either with youth or with, to use your words just then, potentially players who've lost their way. And hidden in there is a much better player than perhaps they've shown recently.
Yeah. See, won't we? I don't know. Really, everyone's got to go and prove everything, hasn't it?
Anyone who ends up with a shirt, has passed Moyes' test, haven't they?
Yeah.
So we should trust in that when if we see some left field things and go, what? Oh, they got past Moyes, so let's just trust in him. Yeah.
You've got to work hard, haven't you?
Always.
You've got to work hard. Daniels, I haven't seen this, Daniel. Ped probably has, though. Says, did you see Roma's new kit launch today? 1, looks amazing. 2, no sponsor. I thought CFG would find the best commercial deal possible, says Daniel. I haven't seen it, Daniel, to be honest.
They had Qatar before, didn't they? Was it?
They have had it. I don't know what they had last season.
I don't know.
But I will have, I'll have a look
looking at it right now as we speak. Oh, okay. Just chose not to answer you, Baz.
Told you this.
Adidas, yeah.
One of the elite teams. They probably don't even need a sponsor. How much money they've got.
Forest getting Bakayoko. Yeah.
He's replacing Alanga. Alanga's going to Newcastle.
Massive miss for us, that Bakayoko. Given his talent and his price and his age. Wasn't great last season, but one season he was very good. Quick. Everton hate quick players, don't they, it seems? Hate them. I'll refresh on Prem here.
Just looks like a maroon kit to me.
It's whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Daniel likes it.
No, it's nice. On the Roma website, it's €150 for the shirt.
Scandalous, isn't it?
But it is Adidas. So.
Okay, scandalous.
Yeah, it is.
Gladiator said, my boy, who's only 9, was buzzing when I said Everton were getting Grealish. He asked, why is he coming to Everton? We're trash. Little Aussie Blue, who only knows FIFA. More education needed. Yeah, educate him. Rich Parry says, as a third striker, we could do a lot worse than Vardy on a free. I think he's going to MLS. That was where the strongest links were.
Yeah, maybe.
Kevin Maloney says, Luis or McGinn. Who would you pick? Douglas Luiz all day for me.
Ditto.
I do like John McGinn. He's a cracking player, but Douglas Luiz would be. Paul Callow says, John, who would you rather have, Tiano Barry or Barry Cash?
At peak.
I think it's got to be Barry.
Baz. Yeah.
Just say Barry, and then
Barry.
it keeps both of us happy.
Barry, definitely Barry.
Keeps both of us happy.
Definitely Barry. Yeah.
I'd have Tiano. He's massive. Kev Maloney says, if we bought the lad from Millwall, we could loan Chimity back to Millwall to get things over the line. I mean, that is a shout. Ian says, what about Brian Brobby? Baz, not sure. You know what? I wouldn't with Brobby. There's just something. I'm saying Tiano Barry's like a little bit raw at work to do. Brobby needs loads of work. As a striker. Don't know, I'm really unsure on Brobby. Sometimes I think he looks, and then others I just think, no. Wide players, fast wide players. Go and get back a Yoko before Forrester. Daniel Barnes.
Maybe he's not fast enough.
Yes. Roma's new kit is just basic Adidas kit.
Not basic.
No. Okay, I'm just reading it out. Reading the comments out. Send it into the light. Yeah, nice. It's like a training kit, but it's nice. Tony says Roma does have a sponsor, but they're selling it without, like Everton now.
Yeah.
So you can buy it without.
Maybe
Scott,
that's why we finally, as Everton fans, can buy the shirt without a sponsor on, because actually it's the ownership group who've made that call.
it's a Premier League rule.
Is it now? Ah, okay.
That you've got to sell, or a UEFA, so you've got to sell a certain amount, and it can be a limited amount without the sponsors to satisfy you.
Oh, that's interesting.
So, Simon says shirt numbers. Michalenko's moved from 19 to 16. Why are Brantwaite 32, Garner 37, and Tim not being moved up? Because they might not want him.
Well, we've published the numbers
No, but they've got the training.
on the coat.
You normally know on
yeah.
the training gear.
Yeah, because the training gear has the numbers on it as well.
Mhm. So Micho's got gone to 16 from
Has he?
19.
Mm.
But
Maybe it's just the numbers they like.
that's
Yeah.
it. If them players are happy with it, and there's no need to
Well,
move
Seamus will be 23, won't he?
Mhm.
Because
So,
he's always been it.
you know, Moyes might look and go,
Don't care.
I don't want to move James Garner up to a number 8 or a you know what I mean?
Mm.
Jared might think, I've always wore 32 for Everton. So kids who've got, like Seamus does, kids
That's
who've
what
got
Seamus says, isn't it?
Brantway 32 on, then
You'll stay there.
that's what number I am for Everton. I'd have liked him to have had number 5 or something. You know, give Keane 4 or something, give Brantway 5 or whatever, because 4's free, isn't it? But Saki's just 6, isn't he? But if they like it, don't know. Honestly, don't know. Oswald says, can Dwight play fullback?
He has done. Sort of.
Yeah, he did do against Southampton, and it wasn't great. I'll be honest. It wasn't great at all. I don't know.
Well, he hasn't got any pace, has he?
No.
So, modern fullbacks need pace, don't they?
On a nice left foot, though.
Yeah.
Hasn't he? I think if Everton won't play 3 at the back, but if Everton did sort of play 3 at the back, you could see McNeil as like a wing back, because obviously you're higher up the pitch. It's not a, but who knows? Where am I here?
Brantway wore 23 at Carlisle. Maybe he likes the number 2 and the number 3.
Well, he's got a number 32 tattoo, hasn't he?
Has he?
So for whatever reason.
Oh, are you gonna?
The what? Oh, 23.
So that's his
someone's
Carlisle
put a
number,
32 tattoo. I don't know.
But he could make it 2-3-2, couldn't he? And cover both teams.
Shouldn't allow anyone over any number over 25. That should be the rule.
Same. The Blues says Trent has no pace either, to be fair. No, but you are surely putting Dwight McNeil in the same sentence as Trent. Please tell me that isn't real.
I think
that can't be real. He's winding me up. It's the Blues. Of course he's winding me up. Of course he is.
I think he has other attributes.
Just for a second, I thought he's being serious.
He has other attributes, doesn't he?
Who, Trent? Yeah. I mean, he can literally put a ball on a 2-pence piece. It's just, yeah.
Naff defender, though.
Evertonian 1977 says, Baz, if we sign Barry, do you see him and Beto being played together? No. I mean, I don't know. There could be times where the manager pushes Barry wider. I don't know. Or if he tries to go, if he just wants pure massiveness through the middle, he might have the two of them. But I mean, I don't know.
They'll certainly be on the pitch at the same time occasionally.
There'll be the odd game, yeah.
But not necessarily start.
He has, I mean, like I said, we've done it before. He's had a tiny little spell out wide. Whether he could do it in certain game for 20 minutes, possibly, who knows? I have to have a look at him, but I think it'd probably be more likely to be one or the other, but you just never know. You never know. Mark Jones has any rumours about goalie? Only like the Mark Travers one there. That's
because Sky are pushing that one, aren't they?
I saw one the other day. Who was it? There was a goalie link the other. Oh, there was the lad in Brazil who meant I think it's the Botafogo keeper who United are looking at as well. Said Everton and United are looking at.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Again, I had no idea if that's real or it's just a made-up link. I don't know.
Furtado.
Who?
Furtado. Is that him?
It was the links for yesterday or Sunday.
I saw it.
Yeah.
It was us in United.
Yeah.
Mentioned.
But I can't remember who. What.
But everyone will be getting thrown at Man United.
But everyone, yeah, but we're on the same stamp, aren't we? Yeah. As on the super chat, thank you very much, mate. Says, hi fellas, hope you're all good. What's your views on us being interested in Kubo to play alongside Barry? They're looking in the region of 30 million. I'm not sure on that. Well, look, He's a wide player for a start. And he's good. He is a bit like a Japanese Messi. The way he dribbles, his running style and the way he plays with the left foot. He's not lightning, but he's not slow. He can move.
What side did he play on?
The right.
So
he's a left-footed right winger.
So would he fill your...
I personally want him to go on the outside, but for someone like him who's a good dribbler, with a bit of pace added to it, then I'm willing to overlook it. But we'd still need another one. And again, I always think if Tom Fellows is available for 10 to 12 million, he's a great crosser of the ball, go and bring him in as well. Go and spend your money on the right-hand side. 30 million's sort of almost a standard, what you pay. Now, he has played in the Champions League. He's played, he was at Real Madrid, didn't really play for Real Madrid, but he was there. He's done really well in the Liga. Like I said, last season, goal-wise, he wasn't great, but the years
4 or 5 he scored or something?
3, I think, but he had about 6 assists, I think.
Okay.
But over the last 3 years, he's got quite a few goals and assists. Hard worker. So, yeah, it'd be a good signing. Again, 30 million, you go, oh my God, 30 million. The cost will be spread.
In transfer fees, you might think you can get the 2 players you need for that 30 million.
Yeah.
If you pick different ones.
If you pick it. But are they going to be up to his level? So I don't look at, when people go like 30 million, I don't look at it like that. I'd look at it like 5 million a season off the transfer fee.
Yeah.
And in a couple of years, if he's not doing it, you get shut and
if he's in an age group where you can
24,
a 5-year deal. Yeah.
So you give him a 5-year deal or a 4-year deal and you go, okay, we'll make a decision in.
See, if we're in that committee room, I'm saying, well, let's value this stuff on a 3-year deal and see how that focuses your attention. But it's still not huge.
No, it's not huge, and that's how you get the deals done. And he'd give us something, wouldn't he? And you can look at it and look at like what sort of Matoma's done at Brighton.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who's a right-footed left winger.
Yes.
And has done fantastically well because he's got the work rate to go with the ability.
And how much did he cost?
Yeah, but he was like 2.4 million, wasn't he? Or something, because that's because they take the chance.
That's right.
Where we wait and go, oh, let's leave him and let him go there.
And that's what I was saying before about once you get some solidity into what you're doing, you can take risks on players.
Of course.
That may be hit or miss.
And if Everton...
And they won't be at 30 million hit
no,
and
that's what I mean. If Everton gets to the stage next summer where it's 3 or 4 players, not 9.
Yeah.
And we've got a good shape to it. And you can look at a couple of these players and go, well, he's playing in Germany, he's available for 9 million. Let's get him. But there's a work to be done. That's okay.
Yeah.
Let's get him in and keep him around. We might send them on loan again. And because that's all Brighton do. Brighton take them, as done with the Dringer, brought him in and sent them out for a year.
Yeah,
and then brought them back.
Absolutely. And we talked about this last week or whenever it was, of this is a 2-summer window job, isn't it? You know, and so part 1 is in progress.
Yeah.
And part of part 1 is laying down foundations that make part 2 more interesting because it's not so-called safe or safer decisions. You are going to be able to take a bit of, and we'll know, of course, this time next year, perhaps we're in Europe, we're no longer seen as those guys are always down the bottom, we're seen as one on the up.
Yeah, trying to be on the up. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's what it's about. Robert Jones has gifted 10 gift memberships for the month. So thank you very much, Robert. Certain people have got them, so thank Robert. That's what it's about. Stephen Dyer says the McAtee rumours today. Hopefully they're true.
They're recurring, aren't they? You know, like it was last month, and then it went quiet, and then it pops up again. Is that just recycling on a slow day, or is it literally there's some weight in it?
John Victor was the goalkeeper, or Victor. I think Victor's the name. The Brazilian keeper who were both linked.
Oh yeah, it's just how. That's one I said. It's just got, you know, where Brazilians have the
got like 17 names.
It's John Victor Maciel Furtado. I just thought Furtado.
There you go. So yeah. Johnny O27 says hello from Hong Kong, lads. What profile right back do you think we need? Solid or attacking? Considering Michelenko's better defensively but improved. Yeah, again, for me, the bigger issue's left back than right back.
Because of Jake.
We've got O'Brien who will play. I again, people go on and no, get this right. It's going to be Tarkowski and Branthwaite, and it's going to be Jake O'Brien.
I agree, yeah.
And
Therefore, if you,
for me,
you
if anyone
prioritise
thinks
left.
differently, I think you're kidding yourself.
No, I'm with you.
The lad's in there and has done brilliantly. He's a unit. He's fast, and he gets on the end of things. If you put a much better right-sided player in front of him, don't shoehorn Dwight McNeil out there because we know we can't do it. Don't shoehorn Jack Harrison like we tried last year. Give Jake someone better in front of him. Go and get a better left-back who can run. Who puts Michalenko under pressure. Doesn't mean you drop Michael.
No, that's right, yeah.
Puts him under pressure or gives you the option in games where you want to fly at teams at Goodison, take Michael out
Yeah.
and have an attacking one in. Whatever, because you've got Patterson, you've got Coleman.
True.
I don't see, unless you're going to go and get...
That call's been made, hasn't it, which is already...
I think it is.
Which is Jake and Patterson has another go.
Seems like.
Yeah.
I mean, unless Moyes has seen a different... Kyle Walker-Peters could come through the door tomorrow.
It's not high up on the list.
But I look and just think the left back is the one. We've got Coleman, O'Brien, Patterson and James Garner. You can all play at right back. But for me, his number one will be, his number one 100% will be Jake O'Brien.
Absolutely.
I said this towards the end of the season.
No, I'm with you.
There's no way Jake's going from playing all of those games for Moyes to being sub.
Bench warming, yeah.
Because Tarky and he's not replacing Tarky if Tarky's fit.
No.
So therefore... But on the left-hand side, we haven't got anybody. We've got Micho or no one.
That's true.
So that, to me, is a huge... That's where it's...
You know what? We might get a proper deadline day, mightn't we? Because...
There will be a couple, I think,
not just for us, but there's going to be a load of frees, isn't there? And a load of... We didn't get our primary choices and we still need bodies. And we may be in that as well. Of, padding it out with non-first picks, but doesn't matter because they're on loan. Yeah.
The Blues, no, Tavares was signed, wasn't he, by, is it Lazio? Was it Nap? He went from Arsenal, I think, for 5 million.
Yeah, and then they wanted like 60.
Then they wanted like 35 million for him or something. Because Everton looked, I think Everton...
Lazio, yeah.
Lazio, yeah. So, yeah, he's not available. Tagliafico is linked with Everton every day. He is available, he's 32, but he's free. He is more of an attacking left-back than what Micho is. He would be a decent stopgap while you look for a younger attacking left back. Stephen Dyer says O'Brien will be like Lescott, starting full back until we bring in a younger lad who can take the spot, and then he'll move to the centre. Yeah, that's how I see it. Yeah, they've bought him, the Blues, haven't they? They took him.
Yeah, so, wasn't it a thing where they had an option to buy him? They were going to instantly flip him to Everton.
Yeah. That was what the story was, wasn't it? They were going to flip him the minute they got him, almost like what someone's trying to do with Mopai, wasn't it? Marseille were going to...
Barcelona with Deulofeu.
Yeah. Boo. Poor Thierry's in a bad way, innit? It's like he's probably going to have to retire. He's 30. Yeah, I'd love Dot. It's Dot, so I can't even read your name out, but you're right. I'd love Elhadji Malikjiv as well from Slavia Prague. Yeah, very, very good. Very good. No Harry Jimmy from FC Twente. It's not happening, sadly. Not happening. Pity that. He'd have been all right. Yeah, Chief from Senegal. Go and get him. Go and get him. But he's a flyer, and he's more like what you'd expect from a Moyes fullback. But if you actually think back to peak Moyes, he never really had two flyers.
No.
Hibbert could get forward.
Yeah.
But Hibbert was very Michalenko-ish.
Yes.
He could get forward and occasionally put in something decent, but he was
solid defensively.
And you had Baines, who was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I know towards the end of that we had Seamus and Baines, and then Martinez really took Seamus and Baines on, didn't he? But Moyes had positioned them.
So you clearly would like for the next year or two Jake to be that solid one and the flyer on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have, if you're offering me in my ideal team, it'd be two fullbacks that can do, because they can get up and down. But Baines was never a great defender, but he was proficient at defending. Seamus was never a great defender, but he could do it because he just made his body shape and stuff. So you should be able to do both. But if Everton could get 2 fullbacks who attacked,
who do that overlapping thing,
yeah, it'd be amazing. It changed the way we play. But if we're not going to go, if Moyes is transitioning it into solidity with that flair, then he might transition to that. For this summer, if we're going to go almost lopsided on it, I think he's more likely to go lopsided with the left.
Yeah.
And have Jake O'Brien, because he's a natural centre-back who can drop in at 3. And therefore, Mykolenko is preserved for things like the Merseyside derby, 1v1 with Salah, Arsenal 1v1 with Saka. People who are going to stick out there and you go, he's their real danger man. Mykolenko just goes and shuts him down like he does most of the time.
Yeah.
But when you're looking to take a game on, and Miko's going to get a lot more of the ball like he did when Moyes came in. You know, anyone who tried to say, well, you know, similar to Deitch, Moyes, it was nothing like Deitch. I knew from my seat, under Deitch, Mykolenko be on the edge of our box, panicking. Under Moyes, he's on the edge of their box.
Panicking.
But I'd rather see him panicking on the edge of their box.
Absolutely, yeah.
No, but you know what I mean? He was scared to, when I say panicking, not in possession or under,
no, because
scared to go forward.
I'm doing as I'm told, yeah.
But panicking under Moyes on the edge of their box was making sure to put a decent ball in.
Yeah.
The whole thing had shifted. But he didn't ever forget his defensive duties.
No.
But that Deitch wouldn't let him go. And that's where you are. You're going to play that high up. That person needs to almost.
And the whole team will play higher up, won't it?
Well, they were, weren't they? Yeah. So that's sort of where we are.
Sort of will have taught Branthwaite some things as well, because it was quite easy for him under Deitch. You know? Load of mates around you, drop an anchor on the edge of your own box. Now do it 15 metres up the pitch. If you do make a mistake, it's a bit more punishing, isn't it?
So lots of real work to sort of do there, but yeah, Chief from Slavia Prague would be great. I think Brentford tried to buy him in. I think it was Brentford tried to buy him in January. Or Palace, might have been Palace. One of them offered like 12 million and it got knocked back. But he's someone who you'd get in, Moyes would work with him, and he's powerful, put a great cross in. You'd go, he's going to be our left back. Miko's either going to have to be a backup or try to force himself in as a centre-back in a 3, trying to get Moyes to change, which is never really likely. So.
Has he got 1 or 2 years left, Mykolenko?
One. They're talking to him now.
So it's now, isn't it?
Yeah. Philip, I wouldn't... Listen, Leeds are trying to buy everything at the moment, aren't they? And not having any real success. But we'll see.
1 year in the Premier League isn't enough, is it? If you're a player.
The problem some of these players are, if I'm, say, like, Leeds were trying to get that Malik youth, I'd be like, okay, but I want my relegation release clause.
Yeah.
For when you're relegated in April.
I don't want to go down with you.
I'm not, you're not, you know, and it can't be something that's prohibitive.
No.
So if you're paying 20 million for me now, it's 30 million release clause. But like the lap.
Yeah.
You know.
So you make a little bit of money, but I'm not tied to you. Yeah.
So. Because that's, you go and do, and I'm sure that's what Sunderland have done with Habib Diarra. You know, they've overpaid, in my opinion. He's a good player, and I think he's got loads of... I'd have loved Everton to get him. I think they've slightly overpaid. I think probably 25 million was the cut-off for him. They ended up paying 30. Bet you this release clause is no more than 40. And if he has a really good season in the Premier League, teams will go... He's only 21. Teams will look and go 40 million, We'll have him because he's our midfielder.
And that's the decision him and his agents have made of going to a team who most expect not to be in this league next year. I'll start every game. I'll look great. I'll have choices.
We turned Leeds down straight away, though.
Yeah.
So he mustn't have fancied what Leeds were doing. But Sunderland, we'll see.
And with the same thing, though, you know, you were speaking about James McAtee before. Apparently, with the links to him, one of like the big things is that City want a buyback clause in it, and that's why like Bundesliga clubs not are willing.
Would
say if we did sign him for like 25 million, would you be happy with a buyback?
Depends what the buyback is, though, doesn't it? If the buyback is 40,
then no.
Then I'd take it, because the reality is, are City really coming back for him? Like, really?
Yeah. Probably not.
If he's unbelievable and turns into Kevin De Bruyne, then we'll have had a really good player for a couple of seasons and made money on him. If the buyback's the same as this, then effectively you're loaning a player for 2 years, aren't you?
Yeah.
You've got to have some, you know, compensation for making the player
Well,
better.
you're developing him, aren't you?
So you're developing them and you're having to pay his wages. So there'd have to be an uplift.
Yeah.
So you might go, yeah, you can have a buyback, absolutely, but it's 40 million or it's 45 million. And City go, yeah, we're happy with that. If you have James McAtee for 2 seasons, he's 22, I think now. If you have him for 2 seasons and he's brilliant, and City come knocking on your door at 45 million, you go, okay, well, we've had a really good player for 2 years. We'll have some indication that City are thinking of buying him back. So we should be doing our work with his replacement. We've had a really good player for 2 years and we've made, say for argument's sake, £20 million on him, transfer-wise. Off we go, and we go again. We can't be precious about it. We're not a Champions League club, though. We go, wait, no chance we're doing that. We're a club that is, at best right now, mid-table, and I put that mid-table maybe 14th to 11th there, maybe 10th, right?
Yeah.
Couple of more wins, we'd have been obviously much higher, wouldn't we? Anyone can say that. But that seems where we are. The year before, the 48 points we got, albeit it was a hard watch, would have put us in the same thing. So realistically, if you're looking and doing any kind of planning, you say Everton are a team that wins points that could place them between 10th and 14th. Because that's what Everton have done for 2 seasons, haven't they? They posted 48 points twice on the run.
Yeah.
So that's where Everton are. And then hopefully you add better players and we should be able to do that again, but actually we're aiming higher than that now because we didn't start kicking a ball really till January, did we?
And then your run rate was 60 points a season.
And the run rate was over, which was Europe.
Yeah.
So if Everton performed like they did under MOYES for the whole season, we're in Europe.
With a stronger team.
With a better team, you're in Europe, okay? So that's how you're having to look. So that's why if you look at that and go, okay, well, that means the players we're bringing in are potential and we might have to suffer a couple of buybacks as long as it's worth money to us.
Yeah.
Buying it for 25 and City go, we want a 30 million buyback.
5 million.
I'll tell you what then, that's Sam, you pay his wages for 2 years then. And we won't, we'll have him effect. We'll pay you the transfer fee, but we ain't paying him.
He's in his last year.
That's what it means, he's got a year left. So therefore, you go, as long as the buyback is worth it for Everton, then why not take him?
Yeah.
Because he's going to have to go some for City to want to buy him back in a couple of years. That means we're going to get the benefits, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're going to get a lad who's unbelievable.
He must be because they want him back.
City will want him. We were trying to win everything. So that's great for Everton, isn't it? If you said to me now, Everton will buy 3 players this summer, you'll sell them all in 2 years' time. They'll make you money and drag your team up even higher. I'd say, come on then.
Yeah.
Because that's where we are. It's not, my ideal wouldn't be. My ideal would be buy 8 or 9 lads who are 20 to 24 and they become your team for 5 years and you're getting better and everyone's talking about
Grow
it.
together, yeah.
But you've got to be real as well and go, okay. You know, and Brighton and people like that work on that cycle, don't they? They buy 5 to sell 2 in 2 years.
That one that they got Barco, haven't they?
Back in.
He was like one of the high ones and now they've already sold him and he hasn't even really played for them.
No, hardly done it. So that's what you're putting it back into the kitty to get better and hopefully your team's rising every time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's how you'd have to. And who knows, we might jump mad places like Forest did and you're in a different sort of mindset again, aren't you? But right now, we have just got to be better than we were last season. More points.
Yeah.
That's where the improvement makes. Like we've said, 2-window job.
Yeah.
Big job this window. Let's hope next season we're talking about needing 4 players, not 9, but 4 quality.
And that's why the age thing is important.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's my view. I mean, people might go, no, don't agree. That's fine. But that's how I see Everton getting better and better.
Of course.
And let's hope we can run, not just jog. Let's hope we can sprint. And we catch teams like Forest did, Villa did, Newcastle did. They all had unbelievable seasons where everything went right for them. And they rode that crest of a wave, which created a new income stream for them, which got them up and changed perception. We almost have mirrored Newcastle in a way.
Just
without getting
haven't we?
relegated.
Yeah.
Haven't we? No, but then they got taken over. They would look like they were in real, well, they were bottom of the league when they got taken over.
Yeah.
And they put a great run together for the end of the season and finished away from it and had momentum. And then they went and bought Isaac, which changed them. They didn't buy 10. They
found a goal
clever.
scorer.
Got a goal. They thought he bought Bruno, who's excellent. And the next season they finished top 4. I'm not suggesting Everton would do that, but I'm saying it's almost like that. New owners got a manager in, got on a great run, built it, riding the crest of a wave. Now can we do it? But if Everton finished 8th next year, and that'd been a great season and got into the comp, we'd all be dancing, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
But if Everton finished 9th, but we're good, and you could see the momentum, we'd all be going, sound, we can see what we're doing. Now can we add that next bit that takes us into
All
that
makes
bracket?
the sell easier, doesn't it?
That's it. But you've got to get there. You've got to go and do it all again, haven't you? You do that with better players, but you have a resilience in there. That's why I'm not scared of the buyback, but it's got to be worth Everton's time and money, and putting it into James McAtee. We shouldn't be frightened to sell players, because it's a world where money dictates. Do we want to? No, I want us to think we're the strongest team.
See,
no one can come and take players off us. That's what I want. But I am having to. Maybe I'm actually maturing at this.
Yeah, but
spitting me dummy.
In a negotiating sense, if you can get that player to come, and then it's just about the numbers, and they're insisting on this buyback thing, then you debate the gap, i.e.,
we want to make it as big.
Whatever we pay, we want the buyback to be £20 million higher.
Yeah.
So we pay 15, it's 35. If we pay 10, it's 30. It's up to you, City. How much do you believe that this guy's going to get better?
Yeah.
Because actually, 50 million if he's a superstar is not much.
It's not if he's a star. Yeah.
To you,
Yeah.
Right,
last few then. Harrison Darby says, "Do you think Moyes is the same as he was all those years ago,
Absolutely
or do you
not.
think he might have laid off a little? Laid off a little in terms of what do you mean, mellowed a bit? I think he's more driven than he was years ago.
We all mellow with experience.
He wants to go. I think he will want to take this run faster than what he would have done, because he knows. He said himself. Probably mellowed a bit.
The missus wants him to retire.
Yeah, exactly. But he wants to do something with Everton.
Yeah.
Robert says, will you still do some streams from America? Absolutely, we are. Looking forward to that 24-hour deadline day stream. Yeah, looking forward to that as well. Will you still do it if we've made all of our signings early? Yes.
The last day is going to be a good day.
Can't take the stress of another deadline day waiting on play. But we'll be looking for loans, won't we?
We'll do stuff on
Moyes always impatient.
Yeah.
Ian says, you get the funny feeling Jack Harrison will be our new right winger. It's not a feeling I want to debate. Ryan says it feels odd that we could be starting at the Hill Dickinson Stadium without a number 9. Why?
He means the shirt's not been allocated.
Tiano Barry probably be giving it, won't he? Costing 30 million quid.
Yeah.
Jake says, think we need to get some easy deals done before the USA trip. Tagliafico and Angus Gunn. I believe another one who was mentioned.
Yeah, we had that chat last week as well.
Transfer.
Good one, lad. Yeah.
Gladdy the Gladiator says, did you see the rumour Wrexham turned down Dom? No, I didn't, and I don't believe that for a second, that he was going in the Championship. I'm sorry. Barry says, I wouldn't be surprised if once we get the number of players we need in, then we sell McNeil. I don't get the impression he's a David Moyes type player. Maybe to Leicester if they get a certain manager in. I don't know. I mean, he didn't really have him, did he? And when he come back, he was in, wasn't he? So I think Moyes will give him I don't know whether we're in a position to sell players like that. But we'll see. The lad will have to... What I would say is he will have to step up, and he'll have to... None of this jogging around 4 players and the crowd standing up like we've scored a goal, clapping when he's leaving gaps everywhere. Moyes won't have that for 1 second. He sees right through that. But Dwight, on his day, you can get him with the left foot on the ball. Then why not? It's every player has got to force themselves into David Moyes.
We had that chat offline, didn't we, about Garner, for example.
Well, that's it, James Garner's. They've got to say to Moyes, I deserve
That's my shirt.
And if you do, brilliant. If Dwight McNeil steps up again, fantastic. It's what we want our players playing at the highest level they can play at, don't we? Mm-hmm. That's what we need. And let's be honest, we need someone who can take a corner if he was going to sell Dwight, because no one else can. And Kevin Maloney says Micho got much better at going forward.
He did.
David. He absolutely did. Absolutely he did. Evan, I've got some great numbers, haven't he, available? 8. What a number. It's my number. What a number, number 8. And number 9. Fantastic. Some good numbers there. Number 4 as well. And Oswald says, will there be a Toffee TV representative at the Man United match here in Atlanta? But Three of us are
All
there.
three of us will be at all three
there, mate.
games.
James isn't. He's at home putting everything together, mate. It look good.
James.
But
It's a sure shirt.
but we're there, Oswald. Yes.
Yes, we are. Yes, see
We
you
will
there.
See you there, my friend. David Murphy says, being realistic, Baz, we should be aiming for the top three. Dyche had us playing some mesmerising football at times, and that alone should afford us another 8 to 9 places in the league. We should be given that, shouldn't we? Having to suffer some of that football, the league should say, right, you know the way they do like handicaps and like snooker and golf, they should be going, Everton, you're already plus 30 for having to put up with some of that football.
Can't we form our own independent commission, invite the Premier League and award ourselves plus 12 points?
I think so, and then see where we are. I've just seen one more here. But Emma says, why is Saudi getting rid of Giran and Mitrovic after one season? Giran, so the story goes, attitude isn't amazing. I don't know if that's real, but that's where some of the links have come. And Mitrovic, I don't know. No idea.
Doesn't like it. He's been out the country long enough to get his tax-free, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Beautiful people.
Thank you.
See you later. Bye.